Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and today I'm going to talk to you about the successful agreement between Hamas and Israel to end the war in Gaza. This is the best news that we have heard from that part of the world in a long, long time, for more than 2 years. So, congratulations to President Donald Trump for doing what the Biden administration could not or would not do, which is to end the war in Gaza and to bring about a ceasefire. It took several months, it took more than 8 months, but nevertheless, we have ceasefire. The two parties have agreed to at least phase one. But there are many concerns about whether the phase two, phase three will go along as imagined in the document that Donald Trump shared with the rest of the world. But at least phase one, both parties have agreed to it, which will essentially entail some withdrawal of the Israeli forces, immediate allowing of aid into Gaza, and also the release of 20 hostages and the bodies of the others who have passed away, and release of prisoners, 1,700, I think, Palestinians in Gaza who have been detained, and 250 people who are in prisons in Israel. So this is the good news, and for me, the thing that matters the most is the very fact that aid is finally entering Gaza, and there's no restrictions on it. From what I've read so far, about 600 trucks will be entering Gaza on a daily basis. So the biggest worry was that besides the violence that Israel was perpetrating, killing 60, 70, 100 people every day, most of them innocent civilians, women, and children. It was like a systematic massacre going on a daily basis. Israel was killing more children in a day than the war in Russia and Ukraine was taking toll in months. So that's the good news, that the war has stopped and the starvation is not going to take any more lives. According to the United Nations, nearly 500 people had died as a result of starvation alone. So for me, that is the best outcome, that there is aid going into Gaza. Now, looking forward to what has happened, we will know basically by Tuesday whether phase one has been successfully completed, which is that Hamas releases all hostages and Israel releases the prisoners that it has been agreed upon, and there is with some withdrawal. I think, according to some reports, the first level of withdrawal will result in Israel occupying only 53% of Gaza. That means it will still be occupying more than half of it after the first withdrawal. I heard reports on NPR that people of Gaza have already started moving northwards as troops are withdrawing. Sorry for that. And the second phase will essentially be the critical part, which really requires Hamas to commit a political suicide, for it to give up all its weapons and cease to exist as a political force in Gaza. The Gaza that is imagined in Donald Trump's plan has no place for Hamas in the present or in the future. There is some discussion of amnesty to the Hamas people who want to stay and, I guess, become part of the civil society, or they can leave. So they have been given safe ways to leave. So we will see whether that happens, because that is something that's going to be remarkable if Hamas does disarm itself and leave, because anyway, once they release the hostages, they have no leverage of any kind to negotiate, and we will see whether Israel fulfilled its end of the bargain. In the past, Israel has repeatedly broken international laws and broken promises and so on and so forth. So we will see whether Donald Trump is able to keep Israel in check, especially if political fortunes of Netanyahu begin to go south. He might decide, well, it's time to kill Gazans again, and he might start the war all over again on some pretext or the other. So that is the concern, whether it will hold. Some of the aspects of the peace process and the plan are going to be interesting to see as they unfold. According to estimates that I have seen, about $53 billion will be required to rebuild Gaza so that it becomes livable. That's not a big amount. Some of the rich Arab countries can really pony up that, and some of the Western countries could also come up with some. And so, yeah, so they could put together a tidy sum to rebuild Gaza, but who is going to man the ISF, International Stabilization Force, that is going to keep peace in Gaza? And that would entail basically also ensuring that Hamas does not rearm itself or rebuild those tunnels that Israel plans to destroy. So that is the big question: is who is going to send forces on the ground? Will it be American troops? Will it be British troops? Now that Tony Blair is going to be in charge in some way, or the Arab countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates? There was much talk in the past that United Arab Emirates was willing to provide soldiers to be part of an international stabilization force. So let us see. There are also countries which have much more powerful and professional armies, like Turkey and Pakistan. Turkey played an important role in convincing Hamas that this was the best course of action and to accept the terms of Donald Trump. So, will Turkey also send forces into Gaza? And will Israel be okay with Turkish and Pakistani forces just south of its border? Maybe even Egyptians might want to participate in this process. So we will see what happens. And of course, the so-called technocratic government, where is this commission going to find technocrats who are Palestinians from Gaza who have no connections to Hamas? So that is a serious challenge. Are there going to be Palestinians who are coming from the diaspora in the West or in the Arab world, or are they going to come from the West Bank? One thing I must tell you is that this peace process does not include West Bank. So Israel could continue to break the international law, rebuild, continue to expand and build settlements in West Bank, kill people there. All the violence that has been perpetrated by the settlers in West Bank can continue to go on simultaneously while there is peace and rebuilding going on in Gaza. That's one of the weakness of this plan. Is it's just focused on Gaza, just focused on ending the violence in Gaza without actually charting a path forward towards a comprehensive solution to the problem that is reestablishing the legitimacy of the two-state solution idea, and then working towards establishing an independent Palestinian state, which is both sovereign and viable, and also connecting West Bank and Gaza. All those are difficult questions which are too far away in the future to even think of. But there's also no discussion of self-governance in Gaza. Like, how long is this technocratic government? Is it going to be composed of Tony Blair and Jared Kushner, maybe Steve Witkoff? Are these guys going to be the ones who are going to run it for some time before they find Palestinians who can replace them? Or at some point, there is a vision of having an election in Palestine. They haven't had one in nearly 18 years. So will there be an election in Palestine or in Gaza to find some kind of legitimate democratic self-governance in that territory? So these are some of the questions that one needs to ask going forward. But there is also a more prickly question. Remember, this particular Gaza is is a crime scene, untold humanitarian disaster. I mean, crimes against humanity, there's no limit to how many have been committed there. Are there going to be human rights groups like Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, the United Nations, human rights groups who are going to go there and document the violence that has been done, the amount of civilians that have been killed? The official figure that Hamas has been providing is 66,000, and many people fully agree that it's far, far more. The population of Gaza was 2.2 million before the war started. And there are many estimates right now that there are probably 400 to 600,000 people less in Gaza right now. Some may have left, but it's quite possible that more than 300,000 people have been killed in this massacre that took place in Gaza as a result of the terrorist attacks that Hamas committed on October 7th against Israelis. Uh, so, so so, who is going to document these crimes, and are the criminals going to be held accountable? Is there international law and international norms on human rights, the Anti-Genocide Convention? All of these, are they going to be implemented at all here? Uh, so, those are some serious questions. Impossible to imagine any accountability of Israel happening as long as the United States completely aligns itself with Israel. So we will see what happens, but at least whether people are held accountable or not, there should be some documentation of the crimes that have been committed, so that we tell our children as to what happened in Gaza in 2024, 25. Uh, there are other issues. One of the issues is that I'm just quite unhappy that Tony Blair has been resurrected from the grave and brought him back, and he's now going to be in charge in some way. Tony Blair is a war criminal. The only place where he should be is in jail, and he should not be playing such an important part in the future of the Middle East. And to me, that is really, really upsetting. And I'm also quite disappointed that the Arab countries did not. This man invaded Iraq on a false pretext, and the Arabs are okay with him coming and governing them. I find that quite foolish. There are other questions as to what role will countries like Turkey and Pakistan play in Gaza. And then there is also the question of will we once again see the resurrection of the idea of the Abrahamic Accords? Is Donald Trump going to push forward on the issue of expanding the Abrahamic Accords? Will Saudi Arabia now be under pressure? Will Pakistan? Trump is already talking about Iran being included in the Abrahamic Accords. So far, Iran has played absolutely no role in this peace process unless Hamas has secretly negotiated or at least consulted the Iranians. I don't know that, and there was nothing in the media. But nevertheless, this is the good news that we are, at least the war has stopped, the killing has stopped to some extent. And I hope that the prisoner exchange, the hostage exchange goes peacefully, so thereby we can move into the more difficult negotiations of imagining a Gaza beyond conflict, a Gaza where there is reconstruction and restoration of basic amenities to the people of Gaza begins. So from that point of view, I am optimistic, and I'm absolutely grateful to President Donald Trump that he has brought us this far. I think if the Biden administration was in charge, I think the genocide would have continued unabated, with weapons and money flowing, with Tony Blinken, and Joe Biden just saying one thing: we have ironclad support for this violence. They would not have stopped. Many stories have come out. You can even look up in New York Times as to how Joe Biden had lied to American people, saying that I'm putting pressure on Israel to end the war and to move towards ceasefire, which he did not do at all. So at least Donald Trump has achieved this, and hopefully he continues. He promised that everybody will uphold their end of the bargain. There's a big concern that Israel might not hold up its end of the responsibilities for the ceasefire, and Donald Trump then there'll be the test as to whether the tail wags the dog or the dog wags the tail. Whether we'll find out who is the superpower, Israel or the United States, in this setup. But anyway, I wish all the best to all people in the region. Everybody deserves to live in peace, with dignity, and in safety. So that's my take on this, and I look forward. I will obviously be keeping an eye on how things proceed, and I will keep sharing my views on these. I did not speak earlier on the plan because I was waiting to see how the Security Cabinet will vote on it. Apparently, it was a unanimous vote, so the Israeli cabinet has agreed to end the war. So there are some positives coming out. One is the end of the war. Number two is the aid is flowing unabated. Number three, there is no plan for Israel to continue to occupy Gaza, and of course, the biggest of them all, there is no ethnic cleansing being imagined as it was when Donald Trump floated his first idea of basically pushing the Palestinians out, building homes for them in other countries, and then building a Riviera for rich people in Gaza. At least that crazy idea hopefully has been put to bed forever. So anyway, thank you for watching Conversation. If there are some interesting comments and questions, I'll be happy to take. to them. Tushar Kansal, good evening to you. Nobel Peace Prize now gone. Yes, the opposition leader, the Democrat activist from Venezuela, of all places, Maria Mercado, has been granted the Nobel Prize. Donald Trump did not get it. I think that whole idea of announcing that the first signatures for the first phase is over was to make sure that it was prior to the date on which the final decision was going to be made about the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025. But this is October, and so by the time the first, second, third phases, I don't know how many phases are there in this plan. We will be in 2026, so it is quite possible that Donald Trump could be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2026. Uh, if if this, inshallah, if this ceasefire holds and there is no more violence in Gaza, then I think Donald Trump should be given the Nobel Prize. He deserves it. Uh, uh, Umesh, I have no idea. This is a very good question. What did Hamas get by holding on to the hostages? I have absolutely no idea. Uh, I mean, when they attacked Israel on October 7th, they should have attacked military targets, not civilians. The crimes that they committed was horrendous. And then taking the hostages, I thought Israel, they probably miscalculated what Israel would do. And they also probably miscalculated the amount of support that Israel enjoyed from the West till it became obvious even to the stupidest, dumbest of Western leaders in Canada and UK and other places that there was a horrible, horrible genocide going on in Gaza. And then they started turning against Israel. But there was support. The Canadians, even after they said that there were horrible things happening in Gaza, continued to send weapons. The UK supported it, Germany and the United States continue to support Israel. There are no sanctions on Israel even now. So I think Hamas miscalculated all of that. Hamas is not really a very smart thing. All Hamas has achieved is got thousands and thousands of its own people dead. The suffering that, I mean, yes, Israel is responsible for doing it, but it was clearly triggered by October 7th. Uh, there would have been no genocide in Gaza if there was no October 7th. And that is something that the Palestinians and Hamas and anybody who supports Hamas has to come to terms with and say that this terrorism, whether it is here or whether it is in Iraq or any other parts of the world, just yesterday Pakistan was bombing Kabul because of the terrorist activities on its border. And so, yes, this has to end. Nothing worked for Hamas. Its own leadership was wiped out. Hezbollah has been wiped out. Iran has suffered significantly. Houthi. So Israel basically won nearly every military battle out there. And so I really don't understand this logic at all. Uh, uh, I mean, Hamas is not even at peace with other Palestinians in the West Bank, and so I'm sorry to say that. uh, oh, HK, yes, there are lots of good books that talk about the history of Palestine, and I think I'll put together a small bibliography and share it with you. Uh, but uh, but yes, there is. Well, there are the shared history of Jews and Palestinians probably starts in early 20th century onwards, uh, at least 40 years before the the creation of the 40, 50 years before the creation of the Israeli state. And then the Nakba happened, and so things have been bad ever since. But there are still very positive stories, and you're right. Um, they have been. I mean, look at in the Crusades, the Muslims protected Jews while Christians killed Jews. And so there are lots of beautiful stories. There is a story of how the Ottoman Empire rescued uh, literally thousands of Jews who were being killed in Spain. by sending ships to their rescue. So yes, there are great moments in Jewish Muslim history, so which can be shared. So yeah, I will put together a small bibliography and post it on my community section, which is now called posts on the channel. Yeah, Umesh, you're right. Tony Blair is a war criminal, and uh, Deep Rajpara says, "What do you think about Indian students going to China?" I find it very interesting that India's Prime Minister likes to brag that India is Vishwaguru. If India was Vishwaguru, then people from all over the world should have been coming to India to study. It's not that way. Indians are going anywhere, wherever they can. Indians also go to Bangladesh to study. Indians go to China. Literally hundreds of thousands of Indians come to the US and Canada and Australia and UK. Now they're going to Germany. There were 16 to 18,000 Indian students in Ukraine. There are thousands in Russia. Uh, it is unbelievable how large that Indian students, you can say, are seekers of knowledge, but I don't think India is Vishwaguru. Uh, and yes, there are, I think, a lot of, there are medical students, I think, which are about, I saw a number of 16,000 students in China. A lot of them are doing medicine. The education standard is very high and it's not very expensive. The same with Bangladesh. There are lots of Indian students now in Dubai, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, also, besides the traditional Western countries. Uh, okay, so any interesting questions? What does this mean? Deep? I don't know what that means. Uh, Member Zamaka, new member. Thank you for joining conversations. Zamaka, remember on Sunday, 2 days from now, on Sunday at 12 o'clock US time, 9:30 India time, and 9 o'clock Pakistan time, and 10 o'clock Bangladesh time. I'm hosting a Zoom conference for members of Conversations. Please join. We can talk face to face. I would love to hear about you and your ideas. So please, I have already go to the post section on YouTube channel, and there you can see a Zoom conference for members where you can find the link to the Zoom conference. It's on Sunday, 12 o'clock New York time. John Smith is also a member. John, I hope you also heard. Uh, well, he didn't get the Nobel Prize this year, so he can still go on and continue to claim that he did bring about peace between two nuclear powers, Pakistan and India, and the Pakistanis are going to support his claim. Now, all the Arab countries are also probably going to support his claim. It would be very interesting if he is given the Nobel Prize but made to share with people. I think Qatar should get a Nobel Prize too for this particular ceasefire. So basically, Qatar and maybe Donald Trump deserve to get a peace, share the Nobel Peace Prize if uh, this peace holds together. That would be the best and just outcome. Because we haven't had any positive news from from the Middle East in a long, long time since the negotiated agreement between Jordan and Israel, which was, I think, what, 94 under Bill Clinton. And after that, nothing happened. There was the Abrahamic Accords, but it was just one-sided. It didn't help the Palestinians in any way. It just helped the Israelis and Trump's family members to make money, I guess, in the Middle East. Uh, uh, anyway, so there aren't any more questions. So thank you for watching Conversations. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video, press the bell icon, and think of becoming members of Conversations. There are lots of benefits to it. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.